The evening sky on the planet Valora 6 was painted in silver and violet colors. The air shimmered with soft blue dust that glowed when touched by light. Ethan Miles, a human engineer from the Earth colony, walked through the edge of the forest, carrying a small repair pack on his shoulder. His boots sank slightly in the soft moss that grew under every tree. It was quiet, almost too quiet. He had come here many times for work, fixing energy relays and scanning the strange soil for readings. But today, he was not alone. Someone was watching him. He felt it before he saw her. A gentle sound came from behind a group of tall, glowing trees. When he turned, he saw her, a woman unlike anyone he had ever met. Her skin had a faint blue glow like moonlight on water. Her eyes were large and bright silver. Her hair flowed down like soft threads of light, moving slowly as if it had a life of its own. She stood a few steps away, holding a basket of round fruits that shined faintly. She looked nervous, almost shy. Ethan froze. He had heard stories about the Valorans, the alien people who lived deep inside the forests. Few humans had ever met them. They were quiet, graceful, and sometimes distant. The woman smiled gently. "You dropped this," she said in a soft voice, holding out a small tool that had fallen from his kit. He took it slowly, nodding. "Thanks. You scared me a little." "I didn't mean to," she said, stepping closer. "I was just curious. You fixed the lights that hum, yes?" Ethan laughed lightly. "Yeah, energy relays. They power our camp." She looked at the sky as if thinking, "We see them glow at night from the hills. Some of my people say they are stars you humans captured." He smiled. "Maybe in a way, yes." For a moment they stood in silence. Her presence was calm, almost peaceful. Ethan felt no fear, only curiosity. "My name is Ethan," he said. "I work at the outpost near the valley." "I am Lyra," she said. "From the river village?" They exchanged small smiles. Then she asked, "Do humans always walk alone into strange places?" "Only when something breaks," he said, joking, "and I fix it before it gets worse." Lyra tilted her head, amused. "That's brave." He shrugged. "Or stupid." She laughed quietly, a soft, musical sound. Ethan liked the sound more than he expected. Over the next few days, Lyra appeared again. Sometimes she came while he worked and sat nearby, watching. She asked many questions. What the machines did, what Earth was like, what rain felt like there. In return, she told him about her people's gardens, how their homes grew from crystal seeds, how their forests sang during the night storms. Ethan started looking forward to seeing her. Her curiosity made him forget how far from home he was. One afternoon, as the twin suns began to set, Lyra came with a small bowl of glowing berries. "For you," she said shyly. "They taste like sunlight." He smiled and tasted one. It was sweet, cool, and slightly electric on his tongue. "You weren't lying." She smiled back, her eyes glowing faintly. Then, after a long silence, she said quietly, "You should come to my home. It's not far. I want to show you something." Ethan hesitated. The other colonists had warned him many times, never go deep into Valoran territory. The forests could confuse human senses, and the energy fields sometimes made compasses go wild. But when he looked at Lyra's gentle expression, he couldn't find any reason to refuse. "All right," he said softly. "Lead the way." They walked as the light faded. The trees became taller, their trunks like shining pillars. Strange flowers opened in the dark, releasing soft blue mist. The ground pulsed faintly under his boots, as if alive. Lyra walked ahead with silent steps, the hem of her long white dress brushing the glowing grass. She looked back every few moments to make sure he was still following. After nearly an hour, the forest opened into a clearing. In the center stood a structure unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. It looked like a giant flower made of crystal and living vines. The petals opened and closed slowly, breathing light. Lyra turned to him. "This is my home." Ethan's mouth went dry. "It's beautiful," she smiled proudly. "It grows with me. Every year, it changes a little. Inside, the walls were smooth and transparent. Streams of soft light moved through them like water. Small silver insects floated near the ceiling, giving off gentle illumination. The air smelled like rain and fruit. Lyra guided him to a seat made of woven vines that hardened under his weight. "Sit," she said. "You are the first human to come here since long ago." He sat, amazed. "You've had humans here before?" She nodded slowly, her eyes distant. "Once a long time ago. They came hurt and tired. My people helped them. But then they left and never came back." Ethan frowned. "That sounds like old history." "The first colony ship arrived just 60 years ago." She looked at him carefully. "Is that what your people told you?" Her tone made him pause. "You mean, that's not true?" Instead of answering, Lyra smiled sadly and changed the subject. "You fix things, right?" "Yes. Can you fix something for me?" she asked. "What is it?" She reached out her hand. A small crystal pendant hung around her neck. It was cracked in the middle and flickered with weak light. "It holds a memory, but it is fading." Ethan studied it. "I can try." He pulled out a small tool from his kit, adjusting the setting. "What does it show?" "Stories of before," she said softly. "Before we hid." He worked carefully, linking small wires to the pendant. As he touched it, a faint hum filled the air. The crystal's glow brightened. Suddenly, images appeared above it, moving pictures made of light. Ethan gasped. He saw humans walking beside Valorans, not as strangers, but as allies. They shared meals, built homes together, and planted the forests. Then he saw something else, humans leaving in large ships, the Valorans watching in silence. The image faded. Lyra looked down. "That was the last day we saw your kind." "Until now?" Ethan felt something heavy in his chest. "Why did they leave?" "We don't know," she whispered. "Maybe they forgot us." A moment of silence filled the room. Only the soft hum of the crystal walls remained. Ethan finally spoke. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." Lyra smiled faintly. "It's not your fault. You remembered us without knowing why. That's why you came here." Her words made him uneasy but also touched him deeply. She stood and walked to a pool of liquid light in the corner of the room. The surface rippled even though there was no wind. "This place remembers," she said. "It shows truth to those who listen." Ethan walked closer. "Truth." She nodded. "Do you want to see it?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Yes." Lyra placed her hand on the surface. The pool lit up. Slowly, images formed inside a storm, a crashed ship, humans being guided by Valorans through the rain. He saw faces of kindness and fear mixed together. Then he saw a mark, a spiral symbol glowing on the humans' uniforms. He froze. That same spiral was tattooed on his wrist, passed down in his family for generations. He looked at his hand, then back at her. "This mark." Lyra turned to him with wide eyes. "You have it?" He lifted his sleeve. The small spiral symbol glowed faintly under the crystal light. Lyra's breath trembled. "Then it is true. You are one of them." "One of who?" he asked, confused. "One of the first humans my people saved," she said quietly. "Your blood remembers what your people forgot." Ethan stepped back slightly, heart pounding. "That can't be right." "My family is from Earth." Lyra shook her head. "No. They returned to Earth long ago, carrying what they learned here. You were their child across centuries. That is why you felt drawn to this place. The planet called you home." The air felt heavy. Ethan couldn't speak. He looked at the glowing mark on his skin, then at Lyra's calm, sad face. She reached out, touching his wrist gently. "You see now why I asked you to come. I wanted to show you that not everything in your books is true. And maybe, if you remember, your people will too." Ethan felt her fingers tremble slightly. She looked fragile yet strong at the same time. The light from the walls painted her face in soft blue shades. He swallowed hard. "You trusted me to see this." "Why?" Lyra gave a small smile. "Because your eyes looked at me with kindness. Not fear, not pride. just kindness. That is how the first humans looked at us too. Her words stayed in his mind long after. The night grew deeper outside. Through the transparent walls, Ethan could see the glowing forest. It was alive with soft colors, blue, green, and silver, moving like waves. He felt strangely at peace, even though his world had just changed. Lyra sat beside the pool again, quiet. The pendant around her neck now glowed steady, no longer flickering. Ethan looked around. "You said your home grows with you. Does that mean it's alive?" She nodded. "It listens. It feels every sound, every breath it remembers." He looked at the walls. The soft glow seemed to pulse with her heartbeat. For a long time neither spoke. There was no need. The silence felt full of meaning. Finally, Lyra said in a low voice, "Tomorrow, when the suns rise, I'll show you more. But you must promise not to tell anyone yet." "Not until you understand," Ethan nodded. "I promise." She looked relieved. "Good, then rest for a while." He hesitated. "Here," she smiled faintly. "The forest will protect you. My home will too." He sat down near the wall. The floor beneath him was soft and warm. Outside, strange lights moved through the trees like fireflies. But brighter as he closed his eyes, he thought about everything he had seen, the shared memories, the mark on his wrist, her calm voice. He didn't know if he was dreaming or awake, but one thought stayed in his heart. Lyra wasn't just an alien woman. She was a bridge between two forgotten worlds. He felt a whisper in the air, gentle and musical. Maybe it was her V. The twin suns rose slowly above the silver forest, spreading soft light through the crystal leaves. Ethan woke to the gentle hum of Lyra's home. For a moment, he forgot where he was. The air smelled of fruit and rain, and the light had a calm, living rhythm. Then memory returned, the glowing mark, the visions. Lyra's sad smile. She was sitting near the pool of light, her hands folded on her lap. When she noticed he was awake, she smiled faintly. "Did you sleep well?" "Better than I expected." "Your house. It feels alive." "It is," she said softly. "It listens." Ethan sat up and rubbed his eyes. "You said you'd show me more today." Lyra rose gracefully and walked toward one of the walls. With a touch, it opened like a curtain. Beyond was a corridor filled with floating lights. "Come," she said. "You should see where our memory begins." He followed her quietly. The floor was warm under his boots, and every step made the lights shift color. The corridor led downward into a wide chamber shaped like a circle. At its center stood a tall structure of crystal pillars arranged around a glowing sphere. "This," Lyra said, "is the heart of Valora. It remembers every moment since our first dawn." Ethan stared in awe. The sphere pulsed gently, and with each pulse, images appeared, forests forming, rivers carving paths, and Valorans walking under the stars. "It's like a living record," he whispered. Lyra nodded. "Yes, my ancestors created it. It gathers memory, not in words, but in feelings. That is why we live near it. It keeps us whole." Ethan circled the sphere slowly. "And humans once shared this?" "For a short time," she said, her voice quiet. "When your first ship fell from the sky, my people found the survivors. They were cold, afraid, and far from home. We took them in. They lived with us for many seasons. Some learned our ways. But later more ships came, and they feared what they didn't understand. They built walls and said the forest was dangerous. Then they left, taking only what suited them." Ethan looked down, guilt twisting inside him, though he hadn't done anything himself. "No one told us. All our records say this world was empty." Lyra's gaze was soft. "Sometimes forgetting is easier than facing what was lost." He touched the surface of the sphere. It felt warm, like skin. For a moment, he felt something, sadness, patience, and hope mixed together. Lyra stepped closer. "The heart is showing you what it feels. It knows you are human, but it does not reject you." "What does it want?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "Only to be remembered." Silence filled the room. The faint hum of the living crystal, echoed like a heartbeat. Then Lyra said quietly, "There is another reason I brought you here. You saw the mark on your wrist? It was not only a symbol of the first humans, it was also a bond. A bond." "Yes," she said. "When my ancestors helped your kind, they shared a small part of our essence, light from the heart. It became a mark so your people would never forget where they had been sheltered." Ethan stared at his wrist again. The spiral glowed faintly. "You mean, this is part of you?" "Part of us," she corrected gently. "A gift, not ownership. The light in you and the light in us are the same. That is why I felt it when I saw you near the forest. The heart called to you through me." He looked up at her. "So this wasn't an accident?" Lyra shook her head slowly. "No, it was time. Every few generations, one human is drawn back. Most never make it this far. But you did." He let out a slow breath. "And what happens now?" "That depends on you," she said. "You can return to your colony, tell them what you've seen, or you can help us reconnect our worlds. We cannot step beyond the forest. The machines of your people make us weak, but you can walk between both." The thought frightened him. "If I tell them, they might not believe me." Lyra looked calm. "Then show them. Show them kindness. That is stronger than fear." Ethan met her eyes. They held no judgment, only quiet faith. He nodded. "I'll try." She smiled. "That is enough." For a while they walked through the chamber, watching the floating images, old memories of cooperation, laughter, and shared songs. The scenes felt peaceful, like something humanity had been missing for a long time. When they left the chamber, the morning light outside was bright. The forest sparkled as dew reflected the twin suns. Ethan felt different now, as if the planet itself recognized him. Lyra led him to a small bridge of vines stretching over a river that glowed like glass. Fish of light swam below, leaving trails of color. "My people live beyond that hill," she said. "They already know you are here." Ethan tensed slightly. "They do?" "Yes, the heart whispers to all of us." He hesitated, but she smiled reassuringly. "Do not fear. They have waited a long time to meet one of you again." They crossed the bridge. On the other side stood several Valorans, tall, graceful, wearing robes that shimmered with shifting colors. Their faces were calm, though their eyes glowed with curiosity. An elder stepped forward, his hair white as starlight. "So, this is the human who carries the light." Ethan bowed awkwardly. "Yes, sir, I guess." The elder smiled faintly. "Names fade. You may call me Solon. We have seen your kind in dreams for many years." Lyra bowed her head respectfully. "He has seen the heart, Solon. He knows the truth." The elder studied Ethan closely. "Then perhaps the time of silence ends." Ethan cleared his throat. "If I can help, I will. But my people, they don't even know you exist. They might not listen, and show them not through words, but through action." Solon said, "Humans remember deeds longer than stories." Lyra looked proud. "He listens with his heart." Solon nodded slowly. "That is rare among any species." Valorans guided Ethan to their village, a beautiful valley filled with homes grown from crystal trees and flowers that sang when the wind passed through. Children ran across glowing bridges, laughing softly. The entire place felt like a dream come alive. Ethan helped where he could, repairing small machines that filtered water or stored energy. In return, they taught him how their plants responded to emotion, how sound and light shaped growth. Every day he learned something new, and every night he felt more connected to them. Yet deep down, he knew he couldn't stay forever. The colony would send a search team soon. They would wonder where he'd gone. One evening, as the sky turned violet, he sat beside Lyra near the glowing river. "They'll come looking for me," he said. "If they find this place, I don't know how they'll react." Lyra nodded slowly. "That is why you must go before they arrive." He looked at her, surprised. "Go. Now." "Yes," she said softly. "If they find us too soon, fear will guide them. You must return first. Prepare them gently." Ethan felt a sharp ache in his chest. "I don't want to leave you," she smiled, though her eyes shimmered. "You won't. The light connects us. Wherever you go, the heart will feel you." He lowered his gaze. "Will I ever see you again?" Lyra hesitated. "When humans are ready to walk beside us again, I'll be waiting." They sat in silence for a long time. The river sang quietly, and the stars began to appear, twin moons reflecting in her eyes. The next morning, the village gathered to see him off. Solon placed a small crystal pendant around Ethan's neck, similar to Lyra's, but glowing with white light. "It will guide you if you lose your way," the elder said. "It carries a memory of what you saw." Ethan bowed deeply. "I'll protect it." Lyra stepped forward. She reached out, touching his mark again. "Don't let them forget," she whispered. "I won't," he said. He turned and began walking back toward the human colony. The path felt longer than before. Each step echoed with memories, laughter of children, songs of wind, the warmth of Lyra's hand. When he finally reached the edge of the forest, the metal towers of the human base stood in the distance. He paused, looking back one last time. The forest shimmered, and for a heartbeat he thought he saw Lyra watching from the trees. Then she was gone. At the outpost, confusion erupted when he appeared. His team rushed to meet him. "Ethan, we thought you were lost," one of them said. He smiled faintly. "Not lost. Just found something we forgot." They bombarded him with questions: where he had been, how he'd survived. He tried to explain gently about the Valorans, but most of them only half believed him. A few laughed. Others grew uneasy. Later that night, he sat alone in the observation room, staring at the pendant. When he touched it, the crystal glowed and projected faint light. It showed an image of the forest, peaceful, endless, alive. He whispered softly, "I won't let them erase you again." Over the next few weeks, Ethan began small steps. He repaired sensors near the forest, programming them to stop scanning the inner zones, so the Valorans would stay safe. He told the colony leaders that the region was unstable, better left undisturbed. Slowly, human activity moved away from the ancient lands. At the same time, he shared what he had learned, not as proof, but as inspiration. He told stories of harmony, of civilizations that lived with nature instead of controlling it. People listened, curious, but cautious. One night, while giving a maintenance report, he noticed something on the main monitor, a faint energy signal coming from deep inside the forest. It pulsed once, then vanished. He smiled quietly. The heart of Valora was listening. Months passed. The colony grew more careful, more respectful of the planet. The strange accidents that used to happen near the forest stopped. It was as if the world itself had accepted their presence again. Ethan often returned to the forest edge at dawn, waiting, hoping to see her. Sometimes he thought he heard a voice in the wind, gentle. Each time he whispered back, "I remember."